I am telling you, you just have to picture it.
Right.
Imagine you are sitting there. It's the late 1920s. You are in this crowded, smoky cinema in Berlin, and you have just spent nearly 3 hours watching a supposed, quote-unquote, master criminal.
Right.
A bloke who has spent the entire film orchestrating this unbelievably massive, high-tech, global syndicate. I mean, he has literally been pulling the strings of entire governments.
Allegedly.
National banks, secret agents, deploying hidden cameras, blackmailing diplomats. The whole world is basically on his string. And how does his grand, terrifying reign of terror actually end? What is the absolute climax of this epic?
Oh, I know where this is going.
He dresses up as a clown.
Yep.
He steps out onto a theater stage, blows his own brains out in front of a live, cheering audience, and then, with his dying breath, asks for the curtain to come down.
Wait. Hold on a second. Stop right there.
I am completely deadly serious.
Oh, you cannot be serious. You're sitting across from me, looking me dead in the eye, and you are calling this absolute shambles and an ending a masterpiece.
Yeah.
A clown. A supposedly terrifying criminal mastermind puts on a red nose and oversized shoes and just pops himself off. It sounds absolutely mental, mate. It sounds like a bad fever dream, not some towering cinematic triumph.
Because you're looking at it completely wrong. It is perfectly ironic. I mean, it is the most flawlessly ironic, cynical conclusion to a thriller you could possibly engineer.
It's a joke, is what it is.
No, it's a massive, sweeping statement about the absurdity of power. You have
A man offing himself to close out an international espionage epic while dressed like he belongs in a circus. You're having a laugh. I mean, honestly, if I sat through 3 hours of tension and you gave me a clown suicide, I'd demand my money back right there in the lobby.
Hear me out.
Cinema, the magic vehicle, a comprehensive guide. Journey 1, 1913 to 1950.
You are completely divorcing the image from the reality of what was actually being made at the time. You have to contextualize this for a second. We are talking about the year 1928.
I know what year it is.
To be exact, a film made in the absolute boiling pot of the Weimar Republic.
Yeah.
We are talking about an astonishing 4,364-meter reel of film.
Which is way too long.
A massive, sprawling beast of a picture. The film is The Spies or Spion, if we're being properly German about it.
Right.
Directed by Fritz Lang, produced by Eric Palmer under the massive UFA studio banner. And I'm telling you right here, right now, and I want everyone listening to hear this clearly, this specific film, this exact reel of celluloid you're mocking, is the undisputed, unacknowledged blueprint for the entire modern epic thriller.
Oh, bloody hell.
Every single thing you watch today, every film with a spy, a femme fatale, a villain stroking a cat in a spinning chair, the DNA starts right here with the clown.
Okay. Or, counter-argument.
Go on.
It is a bloated, morbid fever dream directed by a man who had completely lost the plot and was desperately trying to save his own skin.
Oh, that's such a lazy read.
4,364 meters of film. Do you know how long that is to sit through?
Huh?
That's not a blueprint for a genre, mate. That's a hostage situation.
You are being unbelievably cynical today.
I'm being realistic. You're asking me, and you're asking everyone listening to us right now, you know, the poor folks tuning in to bow down and revere a film where the mastermind literally turns into a circus act.
Yes, I am.
So tell me this then. Why does this bizarre clown suicide movie even exist in the first place? Answer me that. Because I reckon I know exactly why.
It exists because of what happened immediately before it, which is exactly why you need to understand the evolution of Lang's work. You think he just, woke up and randomly decided to make a spy thriller?
Basically?
No. The Spies comes hot on the heels of Metropolis.
Ah, exactly. Metropolis. Let's talk about Metropolis, shall we?
A masterpiece.
A massive, studio-bankrupting, absolute financial crater of a film. That's what it was. The man builds an entire futuristic city on a soundstage and nearly takes the whole German film industry down with him.
It wasn't, okay, fine. Financially, at the time, it was a failure, a catastrophic failure at the box office.
But creatively,
it almost liquidated UFA.
it was visionary. For anyone listening who doesn't know, UFA wasn't just some, indie production house in a basement. Universum Film AG was the beating heart of the European film industry. It was their direct answer to Hollywood. They had monumental resources.
Which Lang used brilliantly.
And Fritz Lang, with his massive ego, spends absolutely everything they have on Metropolis, every penny. He takes them to the brink of total ruin. So don't give me this artistic evolution rubbish.
It is evolution. Just let me finish my point. Discouraged by the financial ruin of Metropolis, Lang executes this brilliant pivot.
Right.
He returns to a genre he is actually comfortable in.
A genre that makes money, you mean?
He had already essentially legitimized the thriller genre years earlier with Dr. Mabuse the Gambler.
Huh.
So he steps back from the sci-fi dystopian ledge. He looks at the world around him and he goes back to his roots. Only this time, he substitutes gambling for spying.
Oh, how incredibly convenient. He substitutes gambling for spying just as quote-unquote spy fever hits the newspapers. What a magical coincidence.
Yes, because spy fever was sweeping across Europe in the late 20s. It was the absolute zeitgeist.
It was what was selling papers.
The Bolsheviks, the British, the French, everyone was paranoid. You had secret treaties, hidden agents, rumors of surveillance everywhere. He tapped into the exact anxiety of the era.
Right, so let's just call a spade here, yeah. That is absolute rubbish, mate. You're sitting there trying to frame this as some grand artistic awakening, a purposeful evolution of the thriller form.
Because it is.
He was reeling from a massive flop. He nearly sank UFA. The board was breathing down his neck, threatening to sack him. He swapped gambling for spying for one reason and one reason only, because the newspapers were full of it.
You're stripping away all his artistic intent.
People were terrified of spies, so he thought, right, I'll sell them exactly what they're already buying, and maybe they won't fire me. It is a transparent, desperate cash grab.
It is not a cash grab. You are completely missing the scale of what he accomplished technically. He wasn't retreating with his tail between his legs. He was taking the thriller genre and elevating it to high art.
High art.
Yes. He was creating what film historians call the epic variant of the cinema of sensation.
The epic variant of the cinema of sensation. Listen to yourself. You're just quoting film theory textbooks to defend a man who is trying to pay off his studio debts. What does that even mean?
It means he was building something massive but grounded. Think about it like this, right? You have Alfred Hitchcock.
Okay, sure. Bringing Hitchcock into this.
Yes, because Hitchcock would later take on the intimate thriller form. He gives you claustrophobic domestic suspense, a man trapped in an apartment, a murder in a quiet motel. That's the intimate thriller. But Lang was building the epic thriller. He wanted to show how the criminal underworld connected to the banks, how the banks connected to the state, how the state connects to global conflict.
And how all of that connects to a clown blowing his brains out.
Stop obsessing over the clown for 1 second. Let me give you an analogy.
Oh, brilliant. I love your analogies.
Think of Fritz Lang like a modern tech CEO.
Right.
Some visionary, albeit slightly mad, billionaire who decides he's going to build a fully functioning utopian trillion-dollar city on Mars.
Right.
That's Metropolis.
Yeah.
He pours all his capital into it. It is a baroque, excessive, monumental undertaking, and it fails miserably. The rockets blow up, the investors are screaming, the board is panicking, the stock is tanked. So what does he do?
He cries.
He comes back to Earth, goes into a garage, and invents the smartphone. That's the Spies.
The smartphone. You're comparing a 4,000-meter film from 1928 to a smartphone.
Yes. It's a strategic retraction. He pulls back from the massive, sprawling architectural excess of Metropolis to build something fundamentally tighter, smarter, and incredibly modern. The smartphone is this small, sleek box, but inside it contains infinite, terrifying data, surveillance, and connection to the whole world.
I see where you're going, but...
That is exactly what The Spies is. It looks like a standard thriller on the surface, but underneath, it's a deeply paranoid network of modern surveillance.
Right, well, if the smartphone was 4.5 kilometers long, weighed an absolute ton, and ended with the CEO in a clown wig, sure, spot on analogy, mate.
You're being deliberately thick.
But seriously, I want the listener to just imagine this for a second. Put yourself in 1928. Imagine the sheer panic of a director who has just nearly bankrupted UFA. The pressure is on. He has to deliver a sensational crowd pleaser to save his own skin and, honestly, the jobs of thousands of technicians and actors. And what does he give them? He gives them a script that is entirely unhinged.
Unhinged is completely the wrong word.
It's mental.
It's atmospheric. It's revolutionary. Let's actually look at the script then, if you're so bothered by it. Let's welcome everyone to Novomia.
Yes, the fictitious state of Novomia. Sounds like a brand of over-the-counter sleep medication, doesn't it? Novomia.
It is the perfect blank canvas for an espionage thriller. Novomia is a stand-in for literally any unstable European state at the time.
Yeah.
And the entire film revolves around this central character, Hagi.
Yes, Hagi.
Played brilliantly, I might add, by Rudolf Kleinrosch, who also played Mabuse and Rotwang in Metropolis. He's a Lang staple. Hagi is a man leading a terrifying double life. By day, he is a respectable, boring bank manager, a pillar of the capitalist community.
Very subtle.
But by night, he is a criminal mastermind. And here is where the smartphone analogy works beautifully. He's not just using hired muscle in an alleyway. He's using modern, cutting-edge technology for spying and blackmail. Hidden microphones, secret cameras, wiretaps.
Right, and let's talk about how this mastermind is actually portrayed on screen, shall we? Because this is where your grand artistic argument really starts to fall apart for me. We need to talk about the script, which was written by his wife at the time, Thea von Harbu, alongside Lang himself.
It's a brilliant, tightly wound script.
It suffers from what the critics rightly call morbid exaltation.
Oh, come on.
It is relentlessly, exhaustingly grim. It's trying to scare the audience in the spirit of the Brothers Grimm. It treats the members of this spy ring and ordinary people as completely passive pawns. It's dark, it's gloomy, and frankly, it's a bit dodgy how they treat human agency.
Yeah.
Everyone is just a toy for this hockey bloke.
But I love the darkness. I love the visual shorthand they use to communicate that exact power dynamic. You want to talk about how he is portrayed? Let's talk about the mechanics of the visual.
Oh, let's.
He is supposedly disabled. He's pushed around in a wheelchair by a deaf-mute nurse, played by Greet Berger. And he is constantly, and I mean constantly, surrounded by this thick, impenetrable cloud of cigarette smoke.
Right.
It's brilliant, atmospheric world building. You see that silhouette in the smoke, backlit by a single harsh light, and you instantly know the power dynamics at play. He is the spider in the center of the web.
Hold on a second. Just hold on. A criminal mastermind in a wheelchair, looked after by a deaf-mute nurse, sitting in the dark, furiously chain-smoking. Are you listening to yourself?
No, thank God.
It's not brilliant world-building. It's a bloody cliché. It is the most tired, cartoonish villain trope imaginable. I half expected him to have a white cat on his lap.
It wasn't the cliché in 1928. He invented the cliché. You are looking backward through 100 years of James Bond villains and blaming the man who literally drew the blueprint.
It's still silly.
You can't criticize the architect because 1,000 cheap copies were built after him.
Look, von Harbu's script is treating human beings like toys in a miserable little sandbox. It's morbid just for the sake of being morbid. There's no real humanity in it. Everyone is just a pawn for this smoking bloke in a chair. It's completely oppressive.
But that is exactly the point, and this is where you have to separate von Harbu's script from Lang's direction. This is where Lang's genius shines.
There we go.
Because Lang actually distances himself from his own co-writer's dark, morbid script. He doesn't direct it as a straight, grim, Brothers Grimm tragedy. He actually directs it without conviction for the morbid stuff.
Say that again. Did you just say he directs his own movie without conviction?
Let me explain.
You're saying the director wasn't convinced by his own film.
He doesn't lean into the misery. Instead, he uses witty exaggerations. He uses irony. He takes the pulp elements of von Harbu's script, the wheelchair, the smoke, the secret agents, and he heightens them so much that it becomes fundamentally a parody of a spy film.
A parody?
Which is properly genius when you think about the mechanics of it. He is literally inventing the espionage genre and parodying it at the exact same time. He is winking at the audience saying, look at how absurd this all is.
So your defense of the film, your grand thesis for this supposed masterpiece, is that the director hated his own script so much, he decided to take the piss out of it while filming. That's your defense.
He didn't hate it. He elevated it through irony.
Yep.
He saw that straight pulp was beneath him, so he added a layer of cynical detachment.
It's a complete mess of tones, mate. One minute it's the grim, oppressive reality of a surveillance state, and the next minute he's winking at the camera with a bloke in a clown suit. You can't have it both ways.
Of course you can.
But let's pause and actually ask the listener something, because this is the real terrifying moral trap of the film, and probably the only part of your argument I'll actually entertain.
Go on then. Indulge me.
Think about this. You, listening right now, put yourself in 1920s Europe. You go to your local bank manager for a loan. You sit across his desk. He seems like a normal, boring bloke in a suit.
Right.
But secretly, underneath that desk, behind the walls, he is using cutting-edge technology wiretaps, hidden cameras, stolen documents to spy on you. He finds out your darkest secrets, your financial ruin, your affairs, and he uses it to blackmail you into joining his criminal syndicate.
It's terrifying.
What do? Do you rebel? Do you fight the system? Or do you just fold and become another passive pawn in his machine? Because that's what the film is actually asking underneath all the nonsense.
Exactly. It is a terrifying premise. It's about the total collapse of institutional trust. And it's completely relevant today. especially today when our bankers and tech overlords actually do have all our data.
It is a good premise, I'll give you that much. But a premise isn't enough to sustain 4 kilometers of film. You can talk about masterminds in wheelchairs and surveillance all day long, but a spy film, even a supposedly parodic, ironic one, needs a hero.
Of course.
You need a protagonist to actually do something. Which brings us to the bloke who is supposed to sort all this out. Agent 326.
Yes, number 326, played by Willie Fritz. He is dispatched by state counterintelligence to identify and defeat Hagi. And Hagi, being the cold, calculating mastermind he is, counters this move by sending his own top accomplice, Sonia Barannikova.
Sonia.
Played by Gerda Morris. She's a Russian exile, blackmailed by Hagi, forced to seduce and destroy his enemies.
And let me guess. Let me just take a wild stab in the dark here. They try to kill each other, but they look deep into each other's eyes and end up having a lovely romantic chat instead.
They fall in love. But it's not just a cheap romantic subplot. That romance, that very human, unpredictable, messy element of love, is Hagi's ultimate undoing.
Oh, please.
Hagi has calculated everything. He has cameras, he has train schedules, he has blackmail files, but his machine cannot account for genuine human connection. Love is the one variable the algorithm can't predict.
Right. How incredibly original. Love conquers the evil computer man. I'm welling up here. I really am.
You are absolutely insufferable today. Let's move past the plot then, if you're just going to sneer at it. Let's talk about the mechanics.
Thank God.
The sheer scale of this production. Because whether you like the story or not, the technical execution is staggering. And we need to talk about the world building. Lang doesn't just give you a hero and a villain. He populates an entire breathing city.
Oh God, here we go. The cast list.
No, listen to the ensemble. You have Lupu Pick playing Akira Matsumoto, the Japanese spy, whose storyline ends in this beautifully tragic, ritualistic way. It's incredibly moving.
If you say so.
You've got Fritz Rasp as Colonel Jalusi, the traitor who sells out his country for cash. And it's not just the main players, it's the texture of the world. Kessel Gestettenbar plays a street urchin at the Danieli Hotel. Georg John plays a train guard. Herman Valentin is an old taxi driver. Lang gives every single one of these minor characters a specific look, a specific motivation, a moment on screen to make the world feel entirely lived in.
Are you quite finished?
Let's go on.
Are you joking with this? It's 4,364 meters of film. You're rattling off the fact that we get a backstory for a taxi driver and a train guard as if it's a virtue. It is wildly, ridiculously bloated.
It's rich. It's deeply textured.
If I am watching an espionage thriller, I want a tight, propulsive narrative. I don't need to know the life story of the bloke punching the train ticket, Klaus Pohl as Jason's energetic assistant. Who cares? Cut it out. We don't need it.
We don't get the life story of the train guard. We get a fully realized world. I strongly, fundamentally disagree with this accusation of bloat. In fact, what makes The Spies a masterpiece is Lang's incredible economy of narrative.
Economy of narrative.
Yes.
In a film that is nearly 3 hours long and spans over 4 kilometers of celluloid, are you hearing the words coming out of your mouth?
Yes. Let me explain the mechanics of how he does it, because this is where you're completely failing to see the genius. When I say economy of narrative, I mean how he conveys information visually. He condenses complex, sprawling events into a short series of brilliant, rapid-fire shots. He doesn't waste time on boring, static exposition where 2 characters sit in a room explaining the plot. He shows you.
Go on then. Give me an example of this supposed economy. Impress me.
Take the railway crash scene. Hagi orchestrates a train crash to eliminate number 326. Now, how do you film a massive train crash in 1928? You don't have CGI.
They just build a model.
Lang uses rapid-fire editing. He physically cuts the celluloid into these tiny, frantic fragments. You see a flash of the wheel, a burst of steam, a reaction shot of a terrified passenger, the crushing metal. It is visually spectacular, but it is tightly controlled. He gives you exactly the visual information you need to feel the kinetic impact and nothing more. It's breathtaking.
It's a neat editing trick. Sergei Eisenstein was doing the exact same thing in Russia. It's not some exclusive Lang invention.
Fine, how about this? Look at Hagi's failed attempt to assassinate number 326 earlier in the film. A lesser director would shoot that with a wide, detached, objective camera. You'd see the street, the assassin, the target. Boring.
Standard.
How does Lang shoot it? He shows the entire assassination attempt strictly through the eyes of the participants. He uses a subjective perspective.
Meaning what, exactly, for the listener who doesn't speak film school?
Meaning he puts the camera literally where the character's head is. You see what the assassin sees. You look down the barrel of the gun. You feel the claustrophobia, the panic, the adrenaline. He forces the audience to participate in the violence rather than just observe it. It's a total mastery of visual language.
I mean, it's a nice trick.
And we have to talk about the photography by Fritz Arno Wagner and the art direction by Otto Hunte and Karl Volbrecht, because this is where your entire cash grab theory completely dies in the water.
Oh, this should be good. How does the lighting prove he wasn't desperate for cash?
Because if it were a pure, desperate cash grab, he would have just repeated the exact spectacle that made him famous. He would have given them Metropolis Part 2. He would have built massive, towering sets.
You couldn't afford to.
But he doesn't even try. Think about the visual style of his earlier epics, like Die Nibelungen. Nibelungen was massive mythical sets, dragons, heavy, oppressive Germanic architecture. It was Baroque excess. But the visual style of the Spies, it is completely restrained.
Restrained? He blew up a train and ended with a client's suicide. How is that restrained?
Visually restrained. The compositions on screen are simple. They are highly geometric. They are refined. He pulls back from the grand architectural madness and focuses purely on the psychology of the frame. He uses these studied, deliberate contrasts of light and shade. Chiaroscuro,
Fancy word.
a bright slash of light across a dark room to show a secret meeting. It's incredibly cheap to shoot compared to Metropolis, yes, but it's infinitely more effective because the darkness forces your imagination to do the work.
Mate, cut 30 minutes of minor characters out of that bloated runtime, and we'd actually have an economical story. You can talk about studied contrasts of light and shade and geometric compositions all you want, but when I'm sitting there watching Jason's energetic assistant run around the screen for the 5th time, I don't care about the lighting. I care about my time. I want the plot to move.
You just don't have the patience for epic cinema. You want a cheap 90-minute thrill ride.
I have patience for a good story. I think you are only defending this film and this completely bizarre clown suicide ending because some dusty old book told you it was a classic. You're desperate to validate the historical consensus, so you sound like a proper intellectual.
Oh, you want to bring the book into this? You think I'm just parroting history? Fine. Let's do this.
Let's have it then. Pull it out. Let's hear what the academics have to say.
Right. I'm literally pulling it out right now. Cinema, the magic vehicle. Journey 1. 1913 to 1950.
Fantastic. Story time with the historian.
Look, the research in cinema, the magic vehicle, is spot on here. The authors argue, entirely correctly, that Lang was trying to build a completely new visual language. They call it a monumental achievement for a reason. They note that psychology is beginning to dominate his cinema in this period.
Psychology, right.
The Spies is not just a thriller about stolen documents.
Yeah.
It is a profound study of obsession. He was fusing incredible visual style with a deep, dangerous political context because he had the stones to try something nobody else dared to do at the time.
Had the stones.
Yes. The book points out the brilliant explicit equation Lang makes in the film. Banker equals criminal. The respectable facade of capitalism hiding an underworld syndicate. It states, and I quote directly, that Hagi's activities are a byproduct of aggressive capitalism galloping towards war.
That's a bit heavy for a spy romp, isn't it?
That is a massive, heavy, incredibly modern theme to tackle in a 1928 thriller. He is diagnosing the sickness of the Weimar Republic right before the crash.
I reckon the book is being way too kind to him, to be honest.
How can you say that? It's literally right here on the page, backed up by decades of analysis.
Because you call it ambition, and the book calls it a study of obsession, but I call it a massive ego trip. Just because a director spends an absolute fortune, burns through studio cash, tortures his actors with endless takes, and makes everyone miserable on set producing a 4-kilometer-long film, doesn't magically make him a genius.
He's a visionary.
It makes him a proper narcissist with a camera. And I think the book lets him off the hook because it's a classic.
That is entirely unfair to his artistic process. He was notoriously demanding, yes, but look at the results.
Look at the subtext. Spying wasn't just a political commentary in this film. Look at the book you're holding. Read it again. It explicitly says that for Hagi the villain, spying was an aim in itself, an all-embracing, irresistible passion. Honestly, I think that describes Lang himself perfectly.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Is it spying, manipulating people, orchestrating this massive convoluted plot where everyone is just a puppet on a string? That was Lang's passion as a director. He wasn't critiquing the mastermind. He was the mastermind. He was a madman with a megaphone.
Rubbish. It is not an ego trip. It is a vital evolution of the medium itself. The book gives you the actual credits and the technical breakthroughs that changed how every single thriller is made today.
It's still too long.
The subjective camera work in the assassination scene. The rapid-fire kinetic editing in the train crash. The cynical, parodic description of Sonia and the agent's love story. These are foundational texts of modern cinema. If you find the sheer scale of it a bit of a slog, if you can't handle the depth of the world building and the pacing of a 1928 epic, that is on you, mate. That's your modern, TikTok-fried attention span failing you, not the history.
Oh, blame my attention span. Typical. Whenever a film is boring, it's the audience's fault for not being smart enough to enjoy being bored.
It's not boring.
I'm just saying, I'm looking at it with a modern eye, and from where I'm sitting, it is half brilliant visual technique and half absolute narrative nonsense. The book defends him through this thick, rose-tinted historical lens. They write these high-minded essays about aggressive capitalism galloping towards war, but I'm sitting here thinking, mate, cut 30 minutes out of that scene and we'd actually have a story.
You're missing the forest for the trees.
It's bloated. And at the end of the day, when all is said and done, I'm still watching a grown man in a clown suit blowing his brains out while a deaf-mute nurse pushes an empty wheelchair around. It's a complete mess.
It's surrealism.
Yeah.
It's the perfect cynical capstone to a cynical world. Hagi realizes that the entire power structure he built is a joke, so he goes out as the punchline.
It's a bloke who didn't know how to end his 3-hour movie, so he threw his hands up and said, I don't know, bring on the clowns.
You are impossible to debate with when you get like this. You completely ignore the subtext, you ignore the mechanic.
And you completely ignore the actual visceral experience of sitting in a chair and watching the thing without falling asleep.
Fine. Let me leave you and everyone listening with a final thought then. An extrapolation directly from what you think is just a dusty old book.
Go on, dazzle me.
The book highlights Lang's vision of aggressive capitalism, the idea that a supposedly respectable pillars of society bank could actually be a front for a massive data-gathering criminal enterprise.
Right.
Think about what Hagi actually does in the mechanics of the plot. He doesn't just rob people at gunpoint. He uses hidden technology to spy on normal citizens. He gathers their secrets. He categorizes their behaviors. He manipulates them based on what he finds.
Right, the surveillance state.
Now, look at the world we live in right now. Hasn't Lang's paranoid 1920s dystopian vision just become our completely mundane, everyday, modern reality? Are we not all just living in Novomia right now?
I mean...
We are willingly handing over our personal data, our locations, our spending habits, our deepest secrets to massive monolithic corporations. The modern equivalents of Hagi aren't hiding in smoky basements in Berlin. They're sitting in open-plan offices in Silicon Valley, and we are happily signing the terms and conditions. We are the passive pawns Thea von Harbu wrote about.
Right, well, that's thoroughly depressing. A perfectly cheery note to end on. But it still doesn't make the clown scene good, mate.
We've done 40 of these, so you know we're never going to agree. If you, listening to us bicker, want to see if my esteemed colleague here is just being a cynical git, or if the book actually has it right by the thing, cinema, the magic vehicle. The link is in the description. Do you actually have the spine to read the real history, or are you staying lazy? Your call.
I'd save your money and just watch the train crash scene on YouTube, but that's just me.
Unbelievable. Absolute Phyllis.
You're buying the next round.
Only if you admit the wheelchair was a brilliant visual.
Not a chance in hell, mate.